mean it in the sense of Rocky the movie because I came out here to punch you.
One bad impression can end up all over the internet for the wrong reasons. But when it goes right, it becomes TV gold, and fans cannot get enough.
So, like, honestly, I saw this guy.
These are the times when celebrities nailed or nearly broke the art of impersonation. It begins with the classic CBS intro, but right after that, the tone shifts. Tina Fey walks in as Sarah Palin, sitting beside Amy Poehler as Katie Couric. Amy opens the interview politely. Tina responds casually, cheerful and relaxed, perfectly copying Palin's voice and style.
Governor Palin, thank you for agreeing to talk with me one more time.
Oh, hey, you know, sure.
Tina then talks about her time in New York. Her tone is light and playful as she makes a quick jab at the media, followed by a list of tourist spots.
You know I did, Katie, and I wasn't sure I would at first.
Later, Tina jokingly shares a moment where she thought she saw a terrorist in a taxi. Her delivery is casual, but the joke lands hard, and the crowd erupts.
I had 15 to 20 false alarms where I thought I saw Osama bin Laden driving a taxi.
The biggest laugh comes when Tina says she watched a film called The Bush Doctrine, thinking it was about politics.
To see a film called The Bush Doctrine. It was not about politics.
She finishes with a strong line about foreigners at the UN, delivered with a smile but clearly ridiculous. Amy reacts with silent disbelief, and the audience cannot stop laughing.
So many interesting people, though I have to say I was disheartened by how many of them were foreigners.
Baldwin greets the press like a leader in full control. He says this is real, this is really happening. The way he says it is part serious, part joke, and the audience laughs loud.
Hello, thank you for coming. I'd like to start by answering the question that's on everyone's mind. Yes, this is real life. This is really happening.
He keeps a straight face while making a joke about Pence becoming president soon after him. His hands stretch out with big gestures, and the crowd responds with laughter.
And then 2 months later, Mike Pence will become the 46th.
Then he jokes about having a pet like other presidents, but instead of a dog, he picks Paul Ryan. He winks a bit and acts like it is totally normal.
I'm going to have a little pet, like all the presidents do. Bill Clinton had socks, Barack Obama had Bo, and I'll have Paul Ryan.
Without changing tone, he adds a strange line about being with Paul Ryan for 4 years. It is awkward on purpose, and the audience roars.
I mean, I'm not gay, but I cannot wait to give it to that man for 4 years.
On Piers Morgan. Tonight, Jimmy Fallon did just that. He did not just talk about impressions. He became the stars. Sitting at the desk in a suit and harmonica around his neck, he told Piers about singing Whip My Hair as Neil Young, and then even added Bruce Springsteen and Bob Dylan into the mix.
Whip My Hair with Neil Young and Bruce Springsteen.
Then, Fallon went ahead and showed what he meant. He leaned into the mic, changed his voice, and played guitar like Neil Young. Piers could not stop laughing.
Whip my hair back and forth.
After that, Fallon said Bruce would do it differently. Right away, he changed his tone and body language. It was louder, stronger, full of energy. Piers nearly lost it laughing again.
Then you got Bruce coming in and he goes, "You gotta whip your hair, whip my hair back and forth."
And just when you thought it could not get funnier, Fallon introduced Bob Dylan. His voice got higher and flatter. His harmonica style changed, and he performed Charles in Charge like it was a folk protest song.
Boy in the neighborhood lives upstairs and it's under.
Piers laughed so hard he had to cover his face. It was not just the voices, it was the whole act. Fallon switched between characters like flipping channels, and each one hit just right.
Charge of a days and a night. Charles in charge of a wrongs and a.
This moment starts with Jimmy asking Ariana to go first in the musical impressions game. She agrees with a shy smile and presses the big button on his desk.
Ariana, please go
I
first.
go first?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
all right.
Press the magic button.
The screen picks Britney Spears and Mary Had a Little Lamb. Ariana laughs and says, "Okay." Jimmy looks excited.
So, all right, so Britney Spears, who we all know, and Mary Had a Little Lamb.
The music starts. Ariana grabs the mic and begins her Britney-style version. Her voice is soft and breathy. She continues with more Britney-like style. Jimmy bursts into laughter. The audience claps. Ariana smiles and says that is enough as Jimmy keeps laughing.
That's enough.
This next part comes from a famous Saturday Night Live sketch. Dana Carvey walks out as President Bush and gets a loud cheer from the crowd. He sits at a desk with flags behind him and gives a friendly wave. Then, with a calm smile, he begins his speech in a soft voice. He welcomes everyone and wishes them happy holidays.
Good evening. Happy holidays to y'all. Once again, it's that festive season.
He talks about Hanukkah, then suddenly makes a choking sound and hand motion while saying the word. The audience laughs.
Tonight, our Jewish friends observe the 5th night of Hanukkah.
Now things take a funny turn. He starts talking about the troops with silly hand gestures and unexpected words.
The celebration of a military victory won centuries ago and a...
He says it so casually, with a big grin, that the crowd bursts into laughter.
Cognizant of my authority to launch a full-scale orgy of death there on the desert sand.
Tom Hiddleston shares a funny memory on The Graham Norton Show. He starts calmly, explaining how actors were cast as historical figures in a film. Then, with perfect timing, he switches into a spot-on Owen Wilson voice and tone.
And who are you playing? Because I'm playing F. Scott Fitzgerald, and I know Corey Stoll's playing Ernest Hemingway, and we're all playing figures of his...
With a smooth shift in body language, he turns into a laid-back Owen Wilson. He tilts his head, widens his eyes, and copies Owen's relaxed speech style.
And he went, oh, no. I'm from now. I go back in time.
De Niro watches and laughs quietly, clearly impressed. Tom keeps going, now really getting into character, staying cool and casual just like Owen would. The camera quickly shows Hathaway and Branagh both smiling and enjoying it.
There's a time machine.
Tom finishes strong, keeping the Wilson energy, using open gestures and soft voice to land the final lines.
It's kind of cool and it's kind of woody and you just kind of...
De Niro reacts again, this time with a bigger laugh and some clapping.
It's kind of awesome.
Christina started strong, dressed in black and white, singing in that breathy Britney style. She tilted her head, waved a hand, and even closed her eyes for effect.
Okay. This little piggy.
Jimmy could not take it. His face was buried in the desk, while Christina kept going with the same funny tone. The audience was already loving it. This little piggy say. She pointed with one hand and kept swaying as she sang. Her voice had that little squeak at the end, just like Britney. This little piggy ain't well. And the finish? Christina added a shoulder shimmy and a playful vocal run. Jimmy was clapping and laughing so hard he stood up. Oh, sweet. When we all the way home. As Christina laughed and fixed her hair, Jimmy got up and bowed a little in a fun, joking way. He could not stop clapping. Jimmy pointed at her and said that was something he had always wanted to hear. He was still laughing while walking back to the desk. The host welcomes the audience and jokes about the debate being long but worth watching.
I'm Chris Wallace, and welcome to the third and final presidential...
The two candidates appear on stage. The Clinton impersonator smiles brightly, waving to the crowd. The Trump impersonator uses sharp hand gestures and a serious look. The Clinton impersonator humorously talks about the debate as if preparing for a feast, holding carving knives with a playful grin, making the audience laugh.
In the second debate, I fired up the grill, and tonight, I feast.
The Trump impersonator then speaks in a soft, quiet voice, pretending to be calm and gentle, which contrasts with his usual loud style, drawing laughter.
In the past, I have been big and loud, but tonight, I am a sweet little baby Trump.
The host reacts with a slight smile and starts asking questions. The candidates quickly respond with funny and exaggerated comments, their body language full of emotion and humor.
They're ripping babies out of vaginas.
The host laughs and claps lightly, showing that the debate has officially started in a lively and amusing way.
And we're off to the races.
Benedict Cumberbatch imitates Alan Rickman while reading rap lyrics with perfect timing and humor.
Oh, God, okay. Rolling down the street, smoking.
Fallon joins the fun, reacting with big laughs and cheering on Cumberbatch's performance.
Sipping on gin and juice. Laid back.
Cumberbatch finishes strong with a classic rap line, causing uproarious laughter from both and the audience.
Can you do maybe just do one more? Just do that one there, yeah. Because I think.
Oh, God.
I want to hear Alan Rickman say.
Maya steps into Beyoncé's shoes with full confidence. She stands tall, hand on her hip, giving the camera a strong look.
Did somebody say my name?
She says her name in different ways, each time changing her face and voice just enough to make it funny.
Beyonce. Beyonce. Queen Bang.
She keeps the diva act going strong. Her face becomes more playful, her tone even more over the top.
How bang bang. Bang bang bang.
With every silly sound she makes, her expressions get funnier. But she stays in full character without even blinking.
Bah. Bah humbug.
She finishes by reminding everyone that now it is her time to speak. No one dares interrupt.
And it's my turn to talk.
Will looks at the photo behind them and calls those three legends his wise men. He is clearly proud, but says it with a touch of humor.
Book, the Magi, you know, the three wise men, and they were standing and talking, and
he shares how he walked up to them, nervous but hopeful, asking how to become the biggest movie star in the world.
I walked into the crowd and I was like, hey guys, I'm sorry. Listen, I want to do what you're doing. I want to be the biggest movie star.
Then Will pauses and grins, saying the group silently picked Arnold to answer him, like it was some kind of secret code.
And they, you know, kind of looked at one another, and then I guess in like the secret movie star language.
Will starts to do the Arnold voice. He gets the accent just right and changes his face to match Arnold's serious tone.
Be a movie star. The movies can't only be successful in America.
He finishes the impersonation by sharing the advice Arnold gave him. It sounds like campaign talk, and the whole couch is loving it.
You've got to go to every country in the world. You have to think of yourself as a politician.
Graham and the other guests are clapping, laughing, and cheering as Will wraps up his story with a big smile. Jimmy steps on stage dressed like Jim Morrison. He walks slowly to the mic, his head low, moving like he is lost in deep thought. The crowd is quiet, waiting. He starts singing the Reading Rainbow theme in a slow, serious voice. It sounds like a rock ballad, not a kid's song. His face stays intense.
In the sky, I can go twice as high.
He leans in, almost whispering the next part. The way he says it makes the crowd laugh.
Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow.
Now he repeats the line but louder, almost shouting it with full energy.
Friends, you know, ways to grow, a reading rainbow.
Then, out of nowhere, he screams into the mic like a real rock star.
A reading rainbow, yeah!
At the end, he stares into the mic and says one last line with wild eyes and a strange smile.
Well, there's a rocket in my pocket.
Frank starts calm, but clearly in character. He jokes about planes and claustrophobia while using small hand gestures.
A little bit of claustrophobia. I mean, you know, and you can't get out of a...
Now he raises his voice and moves both hands while delivering a classic Madden-style rant.
Plane. I mean, you can get out of a car or a bus, you know, we're going to take the cruiser, but, I mean, you can't get out of a...
Then he makes a strange but funny comparison between people and turkeys.
Don't have, but then again, I mean, what do you think about it?
I'm sorry?
Well...
Frank keeps the momentum going, making the crowd laugh with an over-the-top burger joke.
Is put wings on a cow, and that would be like a flying burger. Yeah.
Letterman tries asking a real football question. Frank responds with perfect deadpan timing.
Now, do you mind if I ask you a couple of football questions? I watch...
Finally, he ends with a wild explanation of a rule, yelling in full Madden voice.
But what, down by contact.
Melissa storms to the podium like she means business. She grabs the mic and starts shouting like a strict coach. She keeps yelling, making the press look stunned.
Settle down!
Melissa jokes about the rough start with fake seriousness.
Before we begin, I know that myself and the press have gotten off to a rocky...
Then, she throws a wild punchline.
When I say rocky start, I mean it in the sense of Rocky the movie because I came out here to punch you.
And finally, she pours gum in her mouth like a maniac.
I'm here to swallow gum, and I'm here to take names.
On the Graham Norton Show, Tom Cruise surprised everyone by offering to do a Donald Duck impression. He looked a bit shy but said yes when asked. Tom smiled nervously and said he could do Donald Duck. Emily Blunt looked surprised and asked if he really could. Seth MacFarlane encouraged Tom, smiling playfully.
I do Donald Duck.
You do Donald Duck?
Yeah.
Do you?
Do it.
Okay.
Tom nodded and then started the impression, focusing hard. He finished with a laugh, and everyone clapped and laughed along. Kevin started by saying his favorite Halloween moment was when kids rang the doorbell, and he answered like Christopher Walken.
My favorite, I think, way to answer the door at Halloween occurred again this last.
Then, he slipped into Walken's unique voice and manner, slowly saying trick or treat with pauses and funny expressions.
Trick or treat.
His timing and gestures were perfect, making the audience laugh hard as he joked about what he had buried under the house.
Guess what I've buried under my house.
Chris talked about how he picked up the Essex accent from the show his wife loved and decided to try it himself.
And she fell in love with this show, Towie, The Only Way is Essex. It's this show that's like basically their Jersey Shores.
Then Chris shifted into the Essex accent, acting out a funny scene with strong gestures and expressions. The guests laughed hard.
So like, honestly, I saw this guy.
After finishing, Chris laughed with everyone, clearly happy that his impression was a hit.
You don't miss me? What am I, your mother?
Jim started with a serious Clint Eastwood look, holding a strong, intense gaze that made everyone wait for what was next.
Everyone.
Peggy Fleming.
Then Jim changed to Jack Nicholson's Joker, his face going wild with a big, crazy smile and wild eyes. The crowd loved it. Finally, Jim showed his James Dean, bending and moving with strong emotion, acting out the famous rebel style. Ross leaned back, touched his chin, and slipped into a smooth Southern vibe. He played it cool, just like McConaughey would at a fancy party.
He would probably just lay back and be like, hey, listen.
He moved his hand gently, like he was telling someone to relax. He looked calm but serious, like giving life advice.
No. Sasha, here's the deal, right?
Ross kept going, using open hands while sounding thoughtful. His eyes moved like he was lost in deep talk.
Assimilating. How do you find a way to really come back into this world after being out there for so long?
As he finished, Kevin Smith burst into laughter, and Beth smiled, clearly loving it.
It's a crazy thing to wrap your brain around, right? But
even Chris could not hold back. He laughed hard and walked over with a real reward.
you get a cookie for that, my friend.
Jamie looks down, fidgeting with sunglasses, telling the host how nervous he was before meeting Ray.
I'm nervous. And he comes in, and I said, Mr. Charles, I want to play you as best I can. And he goes,
Then, in one smooth move, he puts on the glasses and speaks like Ray. The room changes.
He goes, hey, you know what, man? If you could play the blues, you could do anything.
They sat at two pianos and started jamming, but when Jamie hit a wrong note, Ray stopped him.
Very, you know, intricate, and then I hit a wrong note, and he stopped. Hey, why would you do that?
Ray told him the right note was already under his fingers. That line stuck with Jamie.
And I was like, oh, man, I just hit the wrong note. He said, well, it's right underneath your fingers, man.
Jamie says once he played it right, Ray stood up and gave him a big approval.
I'm out to get the right notes to play your music. Now, once I got the notes, he stood up. Hey, the kids got it.
Later, Jamie learned Ray was already sick, but he had said one thing before leaving.
I didn't know that he was, he was sick.
He was dying.
And he was dying, and he said, I think the kid can do it, and he went away. We went.
Hope you had fun watching those legendary impressions. Make sure to subscribe for more fun and fresh content every week. Drop your favorite moment below and tell us what you want us to cover in the next video. Your ideas help us keep the content exciting.